64 forts and castles in West Africa. Out of that, about 40 were built in Gold Coast, now Ghana alone, all because of our gold. But some of the forts in Ghana are no more. Now about 19 forts, 3 castles existed. First castle built in Ghana is the one in Elmina, St. George's Castle, built by the Portuguese in the year 1482, being the oldest, the largest, the biggest castle in the country, oldest European structure in the entire West Africa. Elmina Castle is about 540 years old. Second castle is Accra, Christiansburg. I reserve the place for you. Christiansburg was built by the Danes, Denmark, around 1661. This is the youngest, the third, the last castle, Cape Coast Castle, built by the British. This English castle started around 1664, about 358 years old. Yes, so that Madame can also, yes, move on. Very old, but the structure is still strong. Surprisingly, the original structure, like inside here, has no cement, no iron rods. They used burnt bricks imported, lime powder from oyster shells with oil and sand as binding material, stones, pitch pine timber with cheap African labor, if not free. They built the castle, meaning they used Africans to construct. And that should inform us that Africans contributed building their own dungeons. Transatlantic trade. The Europeans came to West Africa here with the initial reasons thought to search for minerals like gold. 2, to spread Christianity. 3, to search for an alternative route to India, to circumvent the Arabs who came to Africa first. But the Arabs mainly settled at the northern part of Africa, and they were there fast spreading Islam, taking minerals as well as slaves via the Sahara Desert, sold in their markets in what they called trans-Saharan slave trade. The Europeans wanted to break the monopoly the Arabs were enjoying by finding the source of these minerals themselves, started to explore. The Portuguese took the lead. They started from Ceuta. Ceuta is around Morocco, Senegambia. 1471, they were here. And their first point of contact here was a village called Anomonsan. But the Portuguese had a lot of gold from Anomonsan and its environs, so they named the area El Mina, which means the mine, now corrupted Elmina. So 1482, they started building the castle. Same Portuguese, led by Christopher Columbus, who spent some couple of weeks in Elmina, got to the Americas. I don't tell you, discovered the Americas, 1492. When they got there, they saw fertile land, good for agriculture, started growing plantations, large-scale farms. Labor became a problem because they were using the natives. They named them the Red Indians. Why Red Indians? As I just indicated, the intention was that they were going to India. When they got to the New World, they thought they've gotten to their destination. So they named the people then the Red Indians. So if you want to go to India, you miss your way. Came met us here, but you now say you discovered us. But these Red Indians were not that effective. They were not that strong, dying of tropical diseases, malnutrition and others. And as they were here, before they got to the New World, they knew the potentials in the Africans they met. Very strong, able to withstand tropical diseases, very effective when it came to agriculture. They said, no, Africans we know could work better than those we've engaged. So a Catholic bishop by name Bartholomew de las Casas petitioned the Spanish crown to allow importation of Africans directly from here to the New World. His petition was granted, and around 1518, transatlantic slave trade officially started. And the Europeans started getting captives by raiding and kidnapping. Raiding, they could set a village on fire. And as the people were running helter-skelter for their lives, they raided for the young ones. Kidnapping, you could be working on your farm with your children or even your husband. You look back and he's taken away. Sometimes they used deceit, they deceived some of them. Let's go to our home countries. We will give you better lives. They ended up working for them. Let's do inside their ships and have fun. The locals understood free-mindedly. No, Africans are very hospitable, especially Ghanaians. Packed their drums, went to them. And then these guys of enjoyment, they gave them a lot of alcoholic beverages, chained, shackled them. The time they realized they were on the high seas. There were some instances where some Africans, some chiefs, traditional rulers, prominent personalities, brought some people and sold. But they were not selling their brothers and sisters, nor their children, as some people sometimes want us to believe. Most of the people they brought were rather some of their prisoners of war, people who were captured during warfare. You may know that there was nothing like Ghana, nor Togo, nor Burkina Faso. Africa was one big continent. Demarcation of Africa took place around 1884, when all the European countries then, with the exception of Switzerland, met with the United States of America in Germany in what they called the Berlin Conference and demarcated, shared the continent of Africa to themselves. Sadly, Africans themselves were not part of the Berlin Conference. And we as Africans are still holding on to these boundary things the Europeans left. What I'm trying to say is Africa's states, kingdoms, tribes, ethnic groups, as we still see. All these groups wanted to expand, wanted vast land for agriculture, for hunting, so they were fighting among themselves. For instance, I'll be fighting his clan over a parcel of land. If I defeat him, instead of killing him and his people, I will rather imprison them, send some out for gunpowder, take over the land and all the natural resources that come with it. Next time, I will use these ammunition to fight my next opponent. The one thing that normally makes the history is that most of these Africans who saw some of their prisoners of war to the Europeans didn't know the kind of treatment they were going to go through, because they were not bringing them directly to the castles and fort. See, Jesse, a Ghanaian-based US official, has written a book. The title of the book is Homegoing. Homegoing talks about two sisters. One lived in here as a mistress for one of the officers, and one lived in here as a captive. The one who lived in here as a mistress indicated that she was in this castle for a couple of weeks and didn't know they were killing people in the dungeons here. What I'm trying to say is, if someone who lived in here didn't know for weeks, how would you expect a chief in a place like Salaga, which is about 600 kilometers away, to know the kind of treatment the people he sold were going to go through in dungeons? You know, some of these chiefs had servants in their homes, palaces working for them. They were treated good, free to marry, bear children, they were fed good, had everything. Even some of them became members of the families. So they were thinking the people they sold were going to go through similar thing, not knowing they were going to keep them in dungeons and later ship. I was just trying to tell you who became a victim. Wherever they got captives, mainly from West Africa, they marched them on footpath. They walked in chains and shackles. Some of them died on the way. Because imagine, walking from Kumasi to Cape Coast, over 200 kilometers. Tamale is about 600. Relatively, Kumasi, Tamale is not far, because others came from present-day Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, and others. Those who survived these long journeys, in this castle, when they arrived, they took them upstairs into a hall called Palava Hall. That was the auction hall. There were European doctors, nurses in there who examined the captives from head to toe to determine their strength. After they were exchanged for gunpowder, mirror, tobacco, textiles, rum, alcohol, brasswares, sugar, cups, according to their strength. Men were normally bought higher than women, and that means the Africans were reduced low to the level of commodity, like mirror, like tobacco. And after the auction, because the buyers were several, they brought them from the Palava Hall, the captives from the Palava Hall to the courtyard downstairs, burnt marks on them for easy identification before they were pushed into the dungeons. And they stayed in here for a few days, to about 3 months, waiting for the ships to come carry them away. When the ships came, they were sent them to North America, South America, the Caribbean, like Brazil. Now I'm mentioning Brazil first because Brazil received the highest number. About 46% went to Brazil. Can I tell you something? In the whole world, Brazil is the second country after Nigeria with the highest number of black people. There are about 100 million blacks in Brazil. Ghana is just around 30.8 million, less than 40 million. So we are in Africa, Ghana. But when it comes to black population, we are nowhere close to Brazil, which is far outside Africa. Most of them are there because of this ego trade. So to Brazil, in no other, US of A, Suriname, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Antigua, Jamaica, Haiti, St. Vincent and others, to work on sugarcane, tobacco, cotton, coffee plantations, rice fields, and mines. Some were domestic servants. Few were sent to some of the European countries like Britain, meant to do construction works. In the castles, they were separated, men from women. So in this castle, this is the male dungeon. Female dungeons are close to the door of Never Time, which we shall see later. But listen, right on top of this male dungeon, on top of this dungeon, was a church. Church above a slave dungeon. So Monday through to Saturday, the British brought captives, held them in dungeons. Sundays, they had church services about them. Later in Ghana, some people commonly say the ship that brought Bible took captives away. And first president of Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta, once said, when the missionaries arrived, Africans had land. They had Bible. They taught us how to pray with our eyes closed. When we opened our eyes, they had land. We had Bible. Any question? We are moving down, but be careful because the